Hi, my name is Joshua Carden. I'm a licensed employment attorney in Mesa, Arizona. If you're watching this video, it's because you have got questions about or have actually experienced the threatened or actual loss of your job due to not wanting to get the COVID-19 vaccines on the market today. What I am going to share with you cannot really be considered legal advice because we're not talking face-to-face or over the phone. And just because you watch this video, I'm not your attorney. But I am going to give you some general thoughts that hopefully you can use in formulating what your next steps will be if you're serious about not wanting to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The first question that I get, and I am getting approximately 5 to 10 calls every workday from people who've got these questions. First question I get is, can employers really require me to get the vaccine as a requirement for continuing my employment? And the basic answer is yes, they can, with some exceptions. And the reason for that answer is Arizona is what we like to call an at-will employment state, meaning you can quit your job without punishment at any time, or they can fire you for little or no reason at any time, all without penalty here in the state of Arizona. That's the default premise. Can the employer have dumb policies that they can fire you if you violate, such as everyone has to wear a purple shirt every single day or you're fired? Yes, the law does not forbid weird, strange, or even silly policies like that. And when it comes to medical issues, because the pandemic has instilled so much fear in everyone thus far, a fear-based policy that says no matter what, everyone has to get the vaccine, even if they work from home, even if, generally speaking, that policy so far has been upheld. Now let's talk about the exceptions, because this is why most of you call me. The first exception is the religious exemption. For the religious exemption to be valid, it has to be based on a sincerely held religious belief. Sincerely held just means you're serious about it. Ideally, it will be something that you can back up with some principles, some spiritual writing, either from the Bible or some other religious text. If you have a spiritual mentor or guide or pastor or someone like that in your life that can support that your belief is indeed sincerely held and consistent with other tenets of your religion, that's so much the better. If you have such a religious exemption, you have to ask for it. Sometimes the company will have a form, sometimes they will not have a form. Either way, it is your job to ask for that exemption. Problems will come in if, for example, you don't have a sincerely held religious belief about other kinds of vaccines. Problems may come in if you have gotten other vaccines in your adult life, such as a flu shot or the shingles vaccine or something like that. The question will be, well, why are you religiously opposed to this vaccine and not to those vaccines? And that will question the sincerity of your religious belief. There are specific reasons why these vaccines in particular may be objectionable, especially to those of Orthodox Christian beliefs. When I say Orthodox, I mean little o, general Christian religious beliefs. And there's plenty of information out there that you can find to support those. So the purpose of this video is not to turn into a theological outline of why you might have a religious exemption. If you have it, you have to ask for it. If the company has a form they want you to use, do your best to fill out their form. All right, this is to show that you're working in good faith. You're the one doing what they've asked you to do, and you're not digging your heels in the sand. If you get that exemption granted and you're allowed to work as if normal, your employer might require you to undergo certain restrictions as a condition of that exemption, such as wearing a mask, such as socially distancing, such as going through various sanitation procedures, and that's probably going to be upheld. I say probably because we don't have a lot of case law yet. That's the religious exemption. And we'll talk about what to do if the employer denies that in a minute. The other exemption that's possible is the medical exemption. And this is taking a multitude of forms right now. One is where you have a medical reason where you are concerned for past reasons as to the impact the vaccine itself might have on you. For example, my understanding is they still have no testing data for the impact of the vaccine on either pregnant women or women hoping to become pregnant. That data will not be around for another couple of years, I believe, is the current timetable. And so if you can convince your OBGYN or similar doctor to certify that the uncertainty means that the vaccine is not recommended for you, that might be a basis for a medical accommodation. That's one. If you can document an adverse reaction to, for example, maybe the first dose of the vaccine, that might be enough to get you out of further doses. If you can document severe adverse reactions to any of the ingredients of any of the vaccines, and you can get your doctor to sign off on that, that may be enough to get you a medical exemption. Again, you have to ask for it. There might not be a form for this one. Don't let that stop you from asking. Use your email, email HR, email, primarily HR is who you're going to be dealing with, I'm assuming, but put it in writing. Don't do it over the phone. Put it in some kind of a writing. If they say you can't ask for more than one, you can't have religious and medical, that's not accurate. You can ask for both a religious exemption and a medical exemption. If they tell you you can't, ask for it in writing anyway. You can acknowledge that and say, look, I know you told me I can't have this, but my understanding is I have to ask for it and tell you that I need this accommodation. And that's the magic word, accommodation. I need the accommodation of continuing in my job without the vaccine because, and then you give the medical reason. The last reason I'm going to share with you is a little more controversial because it hasn't been tested yet. But the other reason might be that you've had COVID and you now have the natural antibodies against the COVID virus. You can get what I think is called a titer test. I don't even know where to tell you to get that. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV, but that's another option for a potential medical exemption for the vaccine. The accommodation would be, I shouldn't have to get the vaccine because I already have the antibodies. And if the goal of the vaccine is to give us antibodies, then having the antibodies ought to be the solution, right? We'll see. Again, that one has not been tested in the courts yet either. All right, let's say you've done all the paperwork, you've put in the request, and HR comes back and says your request is denied. There's a couple of reasons why they might say it's denied. One might be, we don't have enough information from you. I would encourage you to be responsive to their requests for information. Do your best to provide them what they ask. And the reason for that is you don't want to be the one who looks like the stubborn, arms crossed, line in the sand. I'm not going to give you a scrap more information. That's not the image you want to convey later, either in court or to the intermediate step that we're going to talk about next. So do your best to comply with the request for information. And if you're still denied, then you've got two options. The first option is you can file a claim with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission at eeoc.gov. They are tasked with handling, in the first instance, right when you have a claim like a religious accommodation denial or a medical accommodation denial, they are charged with handling those right out of the gate. No lawyer can help you. That you have to go to the EEOC or its state or local equivalent. Now, the EEOC is a federal agency. EEOC.gov is their website, and right on the front page, you can see where it says file a charge of discrimination. You fill out the intake form, they contact you for an interview. It can take a long time. They're flooded right now, but that's what starts the process. Now, the EEOC is federal. The federal government is the one who is promoting the mandates, promoting the vaccine and everything else. So I am not recommending that people start at the EEOC. Instead, I would encourage you to look for your local state or federal equivalent, state or local equivalent, not the EEOC. In Arizona, where I practice and I'm licensed, that entity is the Arizona Attorney General Civil Rights Division. That's the Arizona Attorney General Civil Rights Division. You search for that entity. When you get to that page, the civil rights page, there will be a click link that says file an intake form or file a charge of discrimination. And you file there, and you either check the medical box or the religious box or both if that applies to you. They will call you an interview, and candidly, the Attorney General's office is faster and are candidly, in my opinion at least, and just from the outside looking in, they are more likely to take the exemptions to the vaccine seriously than any federal agency is. All right, in the comments when I post this video, I'll try to put the link to both the EEOC and to the Arizona Attorney General's office, so you have that to go on. But I hope this video has been helpful. After the EEOC and the Attorney General, or the Attorney General, excuse me, have investigated the matter, you will get a letter. That letter will either say, yes, you have been the victim of discrimination, religious discrimination, and or medical discrimination. Those letters don't happen very often, but they might in these cases. We just don't know if it's blatant enough. It might just happen. If you get that letter, you come find an employment attorney, whether that's me or someone else on the employment list, you'll be able to file a lawsuit at that time. If they say, you know, we looked at it and we're just not sure that a violation really happened here, that's okay. Most people get that letter. The vast percentage, in fact, probably more than 95% get that letter. And you take that to an attorney and ask them to evaluate your case, and then you would proceed from there. But you have to go to either the state or local employment commission, like the Attorney General Civil Rights Division, or you have to go to the federal EEOC before you really need a lawyer in these kinds of cases. I hope this has been helpful, and that this will give you some information that you can use in determining what steps you'd like to take next. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.